Peasant Productions presents the math of ESP, why it works even if you don't believe in it. Okay, gonna have a little bit of fun here. Again, I'm playing around, and I can't do anything about the world's timing of things sometimes. So it's quite amusing and a whole lot of fun to me. Viva la revolution, okay? Long live the revolution. Occupy ISS. Sorry, I'm still coughing. The rainy season has definitely got it on right now. The Occupy ISS, or Occupy ISS_INT space station, for International Space Station, my creation that I created. In 1983, letter written to President Reagan specifically for him to steal it from me, for NASA and the government to steal it from me. 4 months later, they did. They read my letter word for word, just about. The only thing they didn't do was make any mention of me or the letter itself or anything like that. They just, this is a new mission, and then they went into the spiel that I put on my letter, and I had written it very, very precisely to give a very good impact of what I was trying to get them to build. They did so. They announced it was 7 countries. So it's a world, it's an international object. It is not owned by the United States, no matter how much they want to try and claim it. It's an international effort up there. It's an international effort to build it, all the way around, okay? The elite rich don't own it either, okay? Now, I announced that starting in May. Within 60 days of my doing so, Trump tweeted his famous tweet about all of the military departments of the United States are going to now combine all of their resources for getting into space and controlling space and being, a superpower in space and all of this into one mighty fighting space force. So, yeah. In 1983, I turned the United States' nose around with a single letter. And I can't say I did it with a single tweet to Trump about Occupy ISS, but I'm quite willing to bet that this single issue made all of the elite rich realize that there's no place to hide. They're not going to get down in any kind of little hole and hide, because this is killing off everything they expected to keep them alive while they were hiding in a hole, and there's nothing they can do about this because they cannot control that. Okay? And it is happening. Everywhere you look now, stories are starting to pop up about people finding weird patches of algae and molds and sicknesses and flu strains. It's all starting to percolate up in the news. So you have the simple fact that I, as a single person, viva la revolution. What do you want me to say? Coffee. More brain power, more going on. The military, they like to drink and get drunk. I like coffee. I like to think. More fun. It's a better war. Me against the mightiest military on the planet. One person has challenged the entire system. But the thing is that I do in fact represent something to them, because first of all, they're always saying how there's no value in space. I just proved that in a very simple little list. Okay, even if you only go to here, okay, water, clean air, special metals, fruits and vegetables. You got all this going on where your entire planet is dying. Who ain't getting any fruits and vegetables? Especially when all you have to do is grow it up there and drop it. Russians just used a ball with a bad bunch of parachutes on it. Boom. They had many, many successful space flights that way. As I pointed out, you have the space shuttle. Okay, you can make these things out of the garbage and waste products that are all over littering your planet right now. So there is no monopoly on being able to create these things. There is no monopoly on trying to create this. And because I'm the one posting this stuff up and putting it out, ain't nobody got the right to try and copyright against me. And I guarantee you, my rain sticks are damn powerful. Right now, the entire east coast of the United States is basically being flooded out. And they got a hurricane coming, and they're right now flooding. And they got 3 hurricanes on the way. Yeah, mess with me, and you find out what rain sticks and a spiritual person can really do. You know, real powerful stuff here, okay? Sorry, I gotta laugh at that. But it's true, you know, you can't do anything about that. So, you got the same engine that I'm showing you how to use here. You got a nuclear power plant, which is designed, remember, these engines, folks, are based off of satellites, which means they run without any maintenance man for 10 or 15 years or more. We're not talking nuclear power plants on the planet where you got a bunch of technicians who got to have jobs, so they're walking around and scrubbing with toothbrushes and stuff and all of that. You're talking about a small power plant that is totally self-contained, continuously operating for anywhere. It could be continuously operating for 50 years, folks. That's how long these satellites are up there. How often are people sending rockets up to go and work on these satellites? And like I said, this design was first used in the 60s. So there's satellites up there that are running in the 60s, yes. We've had how many of those fall back down to Earth right now? That power plant can drive these, or it can have its own RB engines. Power plant out here because they're small and compact, not a problem. The fuel, like I said, anything you can use for reactionary mass gets thrown in there. I don't care if it's grandma's, you know, antique plate set, or it's a chunk of ice, or, as I kind of laughed when you sat there and realized that I was talking about this, you're going to have to put stuff inside this because it's spinning, centrifugal force. You're going to have to keep it relatively balanced, okay? Now, you don't have to be absolute precise, but you will probably have to use something like what they do on some of the racing sailboats, where they have ballast that they can move back and forth from side to side, forward to aft. Same thing in race cars, forward to aft, back to back. They can kind of move their weight balance, their braking balances around. You're going to have something here, and one of the simplest things to do would be to have chambers holding mercury that you can just float the, change the pressures and move the mercury from one area to another as you need to balance it. Mercury's small, mercury's very heavy, so you have a whole lot there. And mercury in these RB engines here would probably be phenomenal. You wouldn't want to use it in an atmosphere because, yeah, you'd be blowing an awful lot of mercury dust, which is poisonous. But if you stop and think about how much mercury you have in your water and your earth and all that right now, just from pollution, you suddenly realize, wow, we'd be going up there with barrels of mercury and have reactionary mass just that easily. Like I said, who doesn't want to have a 3,750 square foot home? And you got these rats, like I said, big huge things and all of that. I'm in Mexico. It's quite amusing to see an entire block that's all one family, youngers, and they just add on some more levels to a house, and the kids move upstairs and get married and move upstairs and stuff. Think how easy you can do it here too. You got the house for the in-laws, you got the house for the main family, your daughter got married, and her boyfriend became husband, and now they're living over there. You got 10, 15, 20 of these dragging around. You're still not creating a whole lot of problems because this is only a 50-foot diameter circle. And like I said, you're talking something that's got kind of eject material, hopefully around a half-kilometer wide or more asteroid, a half-mile wide asteroid, half-kilometer to half-mile wide. That's a pretty huge area to have a bunch of all kinds of room to build houses, yeah. So you see, whether it's a space station, it's a rat, or it's a shuttle, I'm giving you complete systems, abilities to build this stuff, and I am therefore, quite literally, every bit as dangerous as the United States government fears, and the elite rich fear, because not only do they have this to worry about, but I'm giving them the only viable solution to get out there. You can't go out there with 10 men and build something. You can't go out there and be shipping all your parts from the planet at trillions of dollars for a single nut and bolt up there and have anything. You can only get up there and survive if you move enough people up there that you're actually building up there and you're doing something. Okay, now, one of the things you need to stop and think about, which is kind of interesting, 1978 to 1981, I was at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art as a detachment from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Okay, I was a police officer, and one of the things, besides learning stuff about police procedure that was downright dirty and ugly to look at, one of the things I learned in the Art Museum, where I was looking at anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000, 4,000-year-old art, all the way on up, is that things cycle through fairly consistently on the 30, 40, 50-year line. Okay, whatever humans do, okay, your children will do something similar to that. It's like I point out, Jello brand pudding, new flavor, and they've been selling Jello brand chocolate pudding since at least the 1920s. Okay, so chocolate is not a brand new Jello brand flavor, but needless to say, they advertise it. In 1950, in the 1950s, a book came out called The Hidden Persuaders, and it was all about the psychological aspect of how to sell product and what triggers were phenomenally standard in human beings. What can you do? How do you make it easier? Okay, well, you only have two things to choose from. You don't give them 5, 6, 8, 10. You give them two choices: Democrat, Republican. NFL, AFL, right? Major League, American League, Major League, National League, okay? And then you got the individual little teams. You got Coke, you got Pepsi. Sure, there's 7-Up out there, and there's all Sprites and Fanta and all this other stuff. But you do not see them advertised very often because the two main corporations, Coke and Pepsi, have bought up most of those. So they're part of the big family, so they don't care about those. They care about selling you on the two Coke and Pepsi routines, okay? So this is a very simple, logical way they do stuff. And if you go back and you listen to the 1960s and 1970s United States and even European anti-war songs, and stuff like that, you will see that they were very often talking about not being a drug culture, not being part of the masses, and how the system just keeps repeating itself. What happened? Well, in America, it was quite obvious. The FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, the media, which the elite rich control, started painting the peace movement as a bunch of dirty drug addicts, and those musician performers that became very big and got a lot of notoriety were the ones that did in fact start putting out stuff about how it was all about getting drunk and getting the girls, and especially the underage young groupies and stuff like this, and it was all about partying. So they formed the opinion in everybody's mind that peace was a bad thing to do. And that's why you only have military allowed, because they are afraid of people like me that are going to teach you better.